Most guitarists try to learn the fretboard one note at a time, and that can be why it feels impossible. In this video, I'll show you one cool pattern that helps you to find the notes and reveal themselves across the neck, and I call this the octave scaffold. Most guitarists try to learn the fretboard like this, one note at a time. We go, okay, so that's A, that's B, that's going to be C, and then this idea here, guys, one string at a time. That's why this whole quest of learning the notes on the fretboard feels endless. The thing is, the guitar repeats itself, and if you learn the pattern where one note goes, you can find the starting notes across the neck without staring at a great big giant fretboard chart. You'll discover on my channel that I have lots of different fretboard note finding and memorization tricks to help you to find the notes on the guitar neck. But what you don't want to be doing is trying to find the notes as if it's some kind of spelling test. So the guitar really is a pattern-based instrument. So the method we're going to use today is using a pattern. And the pattern is as simple as this. So what happened there, guys, is we were using the octave, and the octave is probably the simplest way to find one note on a string and then move it up into another place on the fretboard. So here I played the G note. And now what I do to get the octave on this is I want to jump to the D string for this one. So I'm skipping over the A string, but how I kind of visualize this is I go up 2 and over 2. So I go up 2 frets and over 2 strings. That finds me the same note. So this is a G and this is a G an octave higher. Now what happens is we're going to do this again, but the pattern changes slightly because we have to compensate because we're going to land on the B string. We're still going to jump over a string. We're going to jump over the G string here and we're going to land on the B string. Now before we went up 2 and over 2. This time what we're going to do is we're going to go up 3 and over 2. So we just need to add that extra fret there because we're compensating for that wonky tuning thing that happens between the G and the B string. It means we have to add another note. So I'm thinking up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 2. And that's what I think of as being the first octave scaffold. Now there is another one and it uses exactly the same pattern. You'll see how useful this is. If I drop down a string onto the A string here at the 3rd fret, this is going to give me the C note. So if I do the same thing here, if I go up 2 and over 2, I get a C again. So there's a C and there's a C an octave higher. The same thing is going to happen again here, guys. So we get up 2 over 2, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go up 3 over 2 from the G string to the thin E string. So if we go 1, 2, 3 and then over 2, then you can see that's exactly the same pattern. And we can use this pattern to find the notes on all 6 strings. Now there is a prerequisite to that you need to know the names of the notes on your E string and your A string, and I happen to have those videos available here on my channel, and I'll link those in the video description and at the end of this video as well. Now this pattern, what I want to show you is it helps us to connect string pairs. Now if you didn't know, the way the guitar is tuned, if we look at the E and the A string, that creates a string pair that is tuned to a perfect 4th. The D and the G string is tuned to a perfect 4th, and the B and the E string is tuned to a perfect 4th as well. So basically we can use that to help us to repeat ideas. Now if we look at the octave scaffold starting on the A string, we end up on the subset of string pairs, which is the A and the D string. And when we land on the G string here, then a whole different set of rules are going to apply because this is where the wonk in the tuning happens. Now guys, I want to make this a practical thing that you can use. So I would say do this as a daily 3-minute drill. And what you do is you're going to choose one note on the E string at first, and we're just going to transfer that pattern over. get your fingers used to doing what you are telling them to do. What we want to do is we want to develop our hand-to-eye coordination. Now, if we look at the notes on the E string, what we're going to do is we are going to say it as we play it, which is what I always say. We have the G note here. So this is a G. Up 2 over 2, that's a G. Up 3 over 2, skipping that string. That's also going to be a G. Let me try another note. I'm going to try this note here. This is a B here. Up 2 over 2. That's going to give me a B there. Up 3 over 2. You can see that that's really apparent that I've landed on a B there because I've landed on the 12th fret, and the 12th fret is the same as the open frets, or the head nut there, if you want to think of that as the 0 fret. So there is a B as well. This works with any of the notes. If we want to think that this is a B, we'll think, okay, well, that's a B flat there. That's going to be B flat. That's going to be B flat. I'm thinking up 2 over 2, up 3 over 2. There's a B flat as well. So I can do this with any of these notes. F, F, F. I'm going to say it as I play it. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. You just pick on any of those notes there. Take your time. Once you get the hang of the octave scaffold that starts on the E string, we'll shift it down onto the octave scaffold that starts on the A string. So here we have a B note here, and I just think up 2 over 2, so B, B. Say it as I play it. Have a little look at it. Think to yourself, okay, where is that on that string? So it goes G, A, B. Okay, tallies. Count up. B, B. Okay, let's go over again. That's going to be a B, and then I need another B. So I'm going to go over, up 3, and over 2. So that's what I want to do there, guys. And it makes sense because you look at that E string and you think, well, that's at the 7th fret. That's a B, because if you know your E string here, you know your E string here. So 3 minutes on each of those, working out those notes. There's a D, D, D. Gonna do an E flat, E flat, E flat. Let's have a B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. You might be saying, okay, Ricky, I've got the hang of that. So how do I use it? Why should I even learn this? We use these notes to find the root notes for chord scales, triads and arpeggios, and tonics for key. This is the thing. This is what makes these patterns useful rather than just an academic exercise. So let's extend this idea again. I'm just going to go back to our good old friend, this G here. There's the G, there's a G, and there's a G. This is another drill if you want it to be. What I can do with this is I can use this as a root note for a triad shape. And if I look at this, this is a root, this is the 3rd, and this is a 5th. Great, now I know where the root, 3rd and 5th are of that triad. I can outline the important notes for a G major chord. But here, I can extend it and I can go root, 3rd, 5th, 3rd, root. Now, if I want to take that across again, can I do that? Yes, I can. So if I go up 3 over 2, root, 3rd, 5th, 3rd, root. There you get a use case for that. Let's shift it to another note. Let's use the A here. Let's do this and we'll get the minor triad on there as well. So look, here's the root, here's the flat 3rd, and here's the 5th. There we go, root, flat 3rd, 5th. Now jump over that octave, up 2 over 2, play the same pattern. Root, flat 3rd, 5th. Okay, let's see if that'll work again. Let's go over on that shape there. There's the root, so root, flat 3rd, 5th. Now I know this is going to be an A minor. Now that's a great way of finding your arpeggios, but I could also use this to help me to figure out how to play my scales. Now you might want to break out of box patterns, and this is a good way to do that. So if I go here, I'm going to start on that G again, and I'm going to play my scale a distance of 1 octave. So I'm going to go root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, root. So I'm back there again. Now what I do is I revisualize that, and I think root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. And what I've done is I've extended that using that first octave. Now I can play part of that G major scale because I'm thinking to myself root, second, third, fourth, fifth there. But you can see I'm getting all this distance on the neck there. What about this using the same thing? Say, let's imagine a natural minor. We're going to go from A to A here. We're going to go root, second, flat third, fourth, fifth, flat six, flat seven, back to root again. Okay, and I can see that I get this pattern here. This is why it's important with those string pairs, because whatever pattern happens on this string pair of E and A strings, it repeats again on the D and G strings here and repeats again on the B and E strings. So I can go, and I'm looking at that pattern there and I'm thinking step, half step, step, half step. Find the seventh, then I move up to this position here and I'm back to my A again. So there's my root note for my A natural minor scale. Now I move here, I'm going to go the step and half step, step and half step. It's easier for me to see because those octave scaffolds help me bridge over into the string pairs. Now I've got to compensate here. If I went there, it would sound wrong. I've got to compensate. I've got to add that extra fret on there because I'm switching over from the G to the B string. And there's that root note again for that A natural minor scale. So all that's left is I have 2 strings to go at. I don't have 3, so I can't complete the octave pattern unless I do that. Okay. So you can see that what I can do now is I can use that with those scales. Now another cool thing that I can do with this is I can use this in conjunction with the L7 grid, which shows us the tonic and the root notes for the chords in the key. So all I need to do is find this here on this string and I go, okay, so that is the root note for chord 1. It's also my key center, which is my note here, this G, so I'm in the key of G here. This would be chord 1, this would be the root note for chord 4, this would be the root note for chord 5, this is the root note for chord 6, this is the root note for chord 3, and this is the root note for chord 2. So now I know that, I can apply chord information to that as well. I can even drop that down onto the A string like we had before. We have this here, and I just use that same idea. So that's the tonic and the root note for C major, which is the key and the tonic chord that we're playing there. So that's C, that's going to be F, this is going to be G. So let me just think of that in Roman numerals. So this would be the root note for chord 1, chord 4, chord 5, chord 6 lives here, which is minor, chord 3 lives here, which is minor, chord 2 lives here, which is minor as well. So major, 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 minor, minor, minor. I can transfer that over. Look, so I go major, 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 minor, minor, minor as well. So it does shift over, but the A string scaffold helps us to be able to see these patterns on all 6 strings. So there you have some drills, guys, and the thing to know about this is that note knowledge is not just about remembering like an image or a poster or something. It's about seeing these recognizable, repeatable, practical routes to finding these notes. So hopefully now you can find any notes in more than one place, but that still doesn't tell you which notes belong together. And that's why this next lesson is about keys, because keys are what turn these loose notes into music. So click this next video and I'll show you why you need to understand key.